All right, let's talk sisters. Let's uh let's see what the knockoff girlfriends are actually doing this week. Hey guys, thanks so much for I can't even get it out. Thanks guys for clicking on the video and thank you for clicking into Sisters season 1 episode 3. Like I said, I was being shady and I said knock off girlfriends. Let's see what they got going on. Karen has met Aaron outside of the grocery store and they're eating the ice cream in the car, which was like so random. But anyway, remember he's married, and then their conversation twisted up again, and she was being mean and made a comment to him about was it his fault that his wife was actually cheating on him. I said, wait a minute, girl, now. And he gave her, hold up now. And then she ended up apologizing to him. And then she asked him, do you want my number? You ain't going to ask me for my number? He was like, I don't know if I want it. And she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, and he walked on off. And she get back in the car and she looked down. There was actually a rose in the car with a card on it with his number on it. I said, okay, but see, now this is an issue because you're voluntarily getting ready to engage with a man who actually has a wife. You know better than that, bitch. You know better than that. That's not ain't nothing good gonna come. Yes, they're having problems, but they are married. You out of order. You was out of order when you were sitting in the car eating with that woman's husband, eating that ice cream. But whatever. Y'all done swap spit now. That's what it got down. Anyway. So next thing you know, everybody is actually on the phone because remember, Danni is standing right there in front of this other woman. Now last week when I did this, I was convinced that that was not the wife. I was convinced that that was somebody else. That wasn't the wife. Okay, and just hold on to that little piece. But everybody was on the phone and they were trying to talk Danni out of going up and saying something to him. And she didn't show him. She never clicked the picture or she didn't show him. But she was saying, I'm going to go in. I'm going to go in. They're like, no, 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 don't do it. Remember, nobody knew but Karen that he was actually married and all of that. But now, all that's getting ready to come out. So she's like, listen, everybody just meet at my house and bring liquor. So everybody goes and they meet over at Danni's. Um, they kind of start going. They kind of start going back and forth because the first ones there was Karen, and it was Karen and Danni, and they were kind of going back and forth, and there was this whole little situation of Danni. She real judgmental. She real judgmental, and Karen had to kind of bring it. No, I'm sorry, it was Sabrina. Sabrina was the first one there, and Sabrina had to bring everything back around and tell Danni no, because remember a year ago you was dealing with a married man, remember? And nobody else knows that. And she's like, okay. She said, they don't know, do they? But here we found out Sabrina had just slipped up and told Karen. So, in the interim of it all, they all knew, but Danni didn't know. Once Danni, no, once Karen had showed up, some of that came out. She found out that Karen knew. And she's like, oh, God, this, that, thing, and the other. And she's like, let me go get some weed. We're going to smoke some weed. At that point, Andi had came in. So they're all there. They're like, we're going to smoke this weed, drink this liquor, and talk all this out. And she kind of like walked out. And when she walks out, Sabrina was saying, damn, did you have to tell her? She's like, now she know. You know how she going to be. She will say, well, why don't you... She said, you didn't even get the girl no housewarming gift. And she's like, She ain't got no house. This is an apartment. This is an efficiency. She talking about she going to the bedroom. You know that's the kitchen. You know her bed is in the kitchen. I said, she's so shady. She gonna say, I'll buy her a housewarming gift as soon as she gets a house. I said, Karen lets Danni have it. I was like, oh my God. Anyway, so they go through that whole thing. And then, as they're leaving, you got Andi and Karen together leaving, and they're riding, and she says, do you think that the wife, talking about the whole situation with the wife and the husband, do you think the wife is playing me? And she's like, you got to just hold on because you got to wait and see. Don't jump the gun with this because she may actually know exactly who you are. She had a private investigator and all that. She may know you and just pulling your whole card. And that's that. And she's like, okay, so she was kind of like all nervous about it. And it is a whole mess. It's all twisted. So we're like, okay, cool. Left at Danni's was Sabrina and Danni. And they're talking about Calvin. And she says she's going to search him on social media to try to dig up the stuff with him. Because they were there and Calvin had been calling Sabrina. She wasn't answering him. And she made a mistake and pushed a button. So she ended up having to talk to him. And she was kind of like blowing him off. And he was like, wait up. Hold on. Why do you feel like you avoid me? Because he kept saying, well, can we go to lunch tomorrow and stuff like that? And she's like, I'm not avoiding you. She's like, well, yeah, like, I can't go to lunch tomorrow because, the first is like our busiest time. He's like, tomorrow's the 9th, honey. She was just giving all this cock and bull stuff. And he ended up telling her, you know what? Why are you avoiding me? And she still kept saying, no, I'm not. Next thing you know, he hung up on her. I said, hung up. So let's go over to Andi's house. Andi has her little visit from Gary. Gary comes in. Like I said, this is where it gets kind of weird for me because I could swear that was a different woman at the airport. I don't think that was the wife. I think that was a different woman. But anyway, her and Danni and Gary get into it. She's like, I feel like you're playing me, this whole thing. And that's when he started he started doing the Jedi mind trick on her, telling her, you're the one. Is that the other? And I could just go get my stuff right now and leave. If that's what you want me to do, I'll go leave. She's like, well, yeah, good. Do it. Go do it. Go get your shit and come on. And he's standing there. Then he gets talking about his autistic child. And what will it be? If I'm not there, it's going to throw the child off and all of this. And I was like, oh, girl, he is playing you. And then he busts out with an engagement ring and puts this ring on her finger. And it's just this whole thing. And she's like, mm-mm. And then he's like, well, wait a minute. Why are you questioning me all like this? Then she asked him where he was going. And he said a whole different place than where he was supposed to be going originally. So it's like a bunch of lies. That's why I said, I don't believe that was that wife. I believe that's somebody completely different. But anyway, she ends up cussing him out and telling him to get out. She's done with the whole thing, gives him the ring back. She's like, just go on about your business. I'm done with this shit. Go on, I'm done. So, she's going to go through her process. She's feeling all bad and all of that. And he goes on about his business. Let's go down to the bank. Sabrina and Maurice, little gay guy, they're at the bank doing their thing. And here come old Calvin. Calvin now is pissed with Sabrina. So Calvin, I said, oh, Calvin, you a whole bitch made somebody, honey. He don't want to get, how he usually would let somebody go before so he can get up in Sabrina's line. Well, he did the same thing, but end up over there in Maurice's line on purpose. And then him and Maurice, he's being all nice to Maurice, and Maurice, baby, is eating it up. So here we go again with the stereotypical bullshit and making the gays look terrible. Because at the end of the day, Maurice and Sabrina are supposed to be friends. They've been friends, and basically she's his manager. And she started throwing shade at him a little bit because she done got jealous of the attention he's giving Maurice. And Maurice is like eating it up. First of all, Maurice, you out of order because no matter how you actually felt about him, He went out with your girlfriend first. He didn't choose you. He chose her. Whether it worked out or didn't work out, there is still girl codes, even between gay boys and girls. There are girl codes. You don't date their pieces, their exes. You don't do that. That's a friendship thing. That's ugly. That's ugly. And I was like, Tyler. But he was just eating it up to the point where old boy ends up asking Maurice out for coffee. And he accepted. And then Maurice gonna throw it in her face and say, "Are you being shady to me?" Because she had told him some of his work was wrong. He's like, "My work is always right. The numbers are right, boo boo." And she gonna say, she pulled herself together and she was like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I was being petty. Your numbers are right. They are always right. It is what it is. You know what? If he wants you, he wants you. Ain't no big deal for me. But it is. She was worked. She was feeling some kind of way. She really was. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it again. I was like, I don't like this shit. But whatever. So that's the whole thing. He ends up going on out with him and meet up for coffee. And then Calvin gonna try to get in there and play this whole game like he don't realize what he did. I said, I just want to punch him in his skinny face. I was hating it. I said, I just want to punch him so hard. He was giving all like he didn't understand, and I wasn't trying to lead you on. I brought you here because I wanted you to help me with fixing things with Sabrina. I said, first of all, Maurice, that's what you get. Because you acted like a nasty little stinking skank. So that's what you get. And then you're going to sit there instead of just cussing him out, because you just cussed him out. And you're still lusting after him though. And he done played you and got you looking foolish. But he ends up telling him, no, I'm not gay, but I actually am very open to it. The lifestyle doesn't bother me because I have two dads. My dad is gay, my father's gay, and I have two fathers. But please help me with getting Sabrina. Now, all of that's real nice with him. All of that he's so comfortable with his sexuality that he don't have a problem with having a little lunch date with a gay guy. Tyler, this is bad writing, just so you know. Just so you know, this is bad. It's just bullshit. It comes across as bullshit. Like you think our heads screw on and off and sit on a shelf at night. But anyway, Maurice is willing to just continue doing whatever because you just want to be with him. You just want to be around him. Which is, again, looks very bad and very desperate on the gay guy's part. You're willing to play second fiddle and fool just to be around him. I was like, yeah, I don't like that. Anyway, so let's go over that Danni and Zach is at work. And there's these three Caucasian girls trying to get some of Zach. And again, I've already told y'all, Zach with clothes on is not interesting at all. Without clothes, very, very interesting. But anyway, she ended up, they were really trying to give them, they're like, why don't you just come on and fly where we are? We're going to show you a good time. We're going to tear that black meat up at it. And honey, that Danni sat up there at that counter, baby, and canceled their reservations and screwed them all around and everything else, and then threatened him. I said, you know what? The whole Zach and Danni thing is starting to get on my nerves. And there's a piece of that in there that's starting to bother me because Danni, it sounded like Danni was Zach more than damn Karen. So I question her too. But anyway, she's a little questionable. That storyline gets on my nerves too. Anyway, moving on. I'm trying not to be too negative, y'all. Moving on. So Andi goes to work that same day. She had a little argument with Gary. She go to work and the wife comes in and she's like, okay. So she's like, well, let's go on and deal. Now, she pissed off with Gary. So she ready to go ahead on and stick it to him. And the wife comes in, now she's singing a whole different song. And she's talking about she ain't getting a divorce. And I want to thank you because, spending my time with you was like, I don't know what it was, but it was like therapeutic and everything then changed. And she's like, and he just came back and everything has changed. And I'm not getting a divorce, but thank you so much. And girl, check it out. Look, he gave me this ring, baby. And it was her ring, honey. And Miss Andi was sitting there hot as fish grease. And I was like, karma. That's a little bit of karma, and a little weird. It was a little weird. I don't know. Is what it is. Y'all tell me what y'all thought. This is what went down on episode 3 of Sistas. Leave it in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought. All right, later.